Preparing to carve your linoleum block. Inside your kit, you received a linoleum cutter. You're going to carefully take it out of your Ziploc bag, and you have one type of cutter that's attached. Everyone's might be different. In the back of your handle, there is this little knob that you'll turn, and inside are additional cutters. Now, there are different shapes and sizes that are going to give you different types of cuts. For example, the small cut is going to be great for little details. The V cut is going to give you sharp edges with a wider cut line. And the rounded one is going to give you wide lines that scoop out a lot at once. To change your head, you're going to simply twist to loosen, and you're going to slide the cutting head out. Inside, there are some little rings, and you have to make sure that the rounded edge slides in between, and then you're going to tighten it very carefully to make sure it's really on there. You don't want it falling off when you go to cut. So for me, I'm going to actually start with the smallest so that I can outline my details. I'm going to tighten it up. I'm going to put these back inside the handle and close it up so it's safe. Now, for my design, I want to focus on carving out the negative space. So I'm going to very carefully begin to outline some of my fish fins and my seaweed. It's always important that when we're cutting, we are putting our hand behind the knife. It is very easy for you to be cutting and for it to slide, and if your hand is up here, you're going to cut into your hand. So always keep your hand back here behind the knife as you carefully begin to cut out your linoleum block. So you just want to apply even pressure and go ahead and wiggle. You're going to get these little pieces, and you're going to go ahead and let them fall off the sides. Once I have outlined the major shapes in my design, I might go ahead and switch to a larger cutter to carefully scoop out the areas of negative space. Going slowly to make sure that I don't cut into my fish or my seaweed. So really taking my time to carefully scoop that negative space around my fish and my seaweed. And once I have all the negative space scooped out, I'm gonna go back in and carve details within my fish and my seaweed. Once I've carved out all the negative space on my linoleum print, and that's the space around my fish and my seaweed and bubbles, I'm going to go back in with the smallest cutting tool to carve out the details like the scales and on the fins, and maybe even some details inside of the seaweed to add more interest, texture. When I go to carve these, I want to make sure again that I am carefully rotating and keeping my hand behind the knife, like so. Every time I carve different areas, it's helpful to rotate the block so that I can always comfortably keep my hand behind the knife. So feel free to rotate and turn as you cut your linoleum block.